Welcome back to 2-5 Daily. That makes me 2-5. I wanted to talk to y'all because I heard some things this week. I came to you the other day talking about this new tournament that Fox is proposing with these Big East, Big 10, and Big 12 teams, the conferences that they have under contract, how that could spell doom for the NIT possibly, or, how that will just change and add unwanted, watered down basketball to our marches. And of course, that tournament would take place, between the Elite Eight and the Final Four. But there's also talk of NCAA tournament expansion. And I say no. Leave the NCAA tournament alone. It's been 68 teams since about 2011. We added the play-in games. Prior to that, it was 65. And then, of course, 64 in the modern era. So the bracket just works out perfectly at 64. You get your 1 through 16, 2 through 15, so on and so forth. But beyond that, why water down the tournament? Why make the people madder than they already are? Like you already heard me. I'm not gonna get into it, but the whole San Diego State, Florida Atlantic thing, people were upset about it. But now you put in more teams into the tournament potentially. There could be more upsets, more teams getting through that you don't want there, that the consumer doesn't want there, and the customer is always right. So, back in January, the NCAA Transformation Committee came out, and one of the ideas that they had and recommendations that they gave was that any NCAA sport that supports 200 or more schools should allow at least 25% of the teams into the tournament. So, with that being said, when it comes to Division One basketball, that would put us at about 90. Are there 26 more teams worth being in the NCAA tournament than what we have right now? Now, one thing that I could say that is if you expand, like I would hope that you only went to 72 or 76 first versus going to 90. But let's just say for the conversation. I would hope that mid-major conferences with a different conference champion than the regular season conference champion got both in. So, of course, you got your automatic bid at the end of the conference tournament, which in a lot of cases makes the regular season pointless because this team went out, won the conference, and then they don't even get to make the tournament. Now the fallback is they get to be in the NIT. But with that being said, if you're expanding the NCAA tournament, again, what happens to the NIT? It would probably effectively kill the idea that Fox came up with if you did that, because I'm sure there would be some Big 12, Big 10, Big East teams in consideration for who would make the NCAA tournament. Now, we already keep track of the first four and the first four out. So those are the teams that you could probably add into the tournament right now, which may get you another mid-major or two. But I don't think anybody, except for fans of a school, like say, I'm trying to think of a school, so I'm not picking on anybody, but I'm just going to say it. Like a school like NC State, going, I don't know, 7-11 in the ACC, getting into the tournament because you got to put teams in there. It's ridiculous. So I've heard 90, I've heard 96. I say 68 is just fine. Are the big schools, that's the other question, are the big schools even going to let more mid-majors in? Are they going to agree to this? Because we keep talking about it. We keep hearing about it. Are these big power conferences going to leave the NCAA at some point and do their own thing? This could be the start of that if you start telling them like, oh, hey, by the way, we know Drake made it into the tournament, but now we got to add Bradley too. Like, hey, Oakland made the tournament, but we got to add Cleveland State too. So I don't know if that's going to work. It takes away the beauty of Cinderella. We have these upsets like March Madness, the first weekend and the first couple of days of March Madness is some of the best sports times of the year, period. Everybody's invested. You would think it was a Colorado football game. Everybody's invested. But what does it mean if there's just Cinderellas everywhere? Then it's not as special anymore. It's not as unique. Like, it's not going to make more people fill out brackets. That's not going to change. Like, will it bring more eyeballs? Maybe, because you'll have other teams in the tournament, especially if it's teams that are making the tournament for the first time or in a long time. Like, but that's not sustainable once they're eliminated, probably. So they're going to meet again in October to make some decisions. It sounds like expansion is not imminent per se, but it has to be, doesn't it? Once you hear expansion, it doesn't stop. Think about all the other times you've ever heard the word expansion used in college sports. It might not have happened right away, but it happened. By adding these teams and having this expansion, all you're doing is punishing the best teams. Are you making the one seed play an extra game, two seeds play an extra game? Like, what's the point of me being the best if I don't get the perks of being the best? In July, it was decided that expansion isn't necessary. But I'm interested to see where we go from here, being that the conversation is coming up again. So, what do you think? Do we need more teams in the tournament? Tournament is fine as is. Should we go back to 64? What is your perfect March Madness?